Manos del Chango is the project me and my partner Nicole have, and that's it's kind of like her flavors blended with my flavors. So there's a lot of this Spanish cumbia and definitely the whole world her singing brings. And then there's my sort of looping. There's a bit of that. There's songwriting stuff from me. It's hard to find a balance with that because it's not so much. It's not my song. It is my songs, but it's not purely my songs, and so we often have to find the way to take the songs forward, both at the same time. So it's not just me going, "Oh yeah, there's 10 more songs, and we could do these." And it's like, yeah, sure we could, but that's not really what that project's about. And one thing we did want to keep open with this project is the idea of playfulness and exploration. So we're always looking for possibilities to collaborate with hip hop, for example, or with mariachi bands, or fuller extended rhythm sections, things like that. Those are what we want to explore with it. And we wanted it to be kind of light, but at the same time serious, and have this playful, upbeat thing, but be a bit sort of menacing at the same time. So we're still exploring a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff I've tried to free up from to be able to take that musical step. Started trying to write some rap lyrics and just really opening up ideas of how I work music wise, it's great, any challenge like that's always, it's going to bring some laughs at the very least. It sometimes feels like one hand, like holding the handbrake on and the accelerator at the same time, because you're trying to figure out how to motivate it and push it, but how not to dominate it too much. It's quite a delicate game, but it's brought some real I guess it's another one of those projects that's brought about a change musically for me, and that feels nice to look further into animation on stage, and the idea of it being upbeat and groovy, something to dance to, and that's definitely comes out of the it's a combination of that sort of chunkier blues thing and the Mexican rhythm combined with this sort of cumbia flavor from Brazil. The other thing is just working with somebody else is different, because if you're by yourself and you write a song about poor old me, you kind of can get away with it. But if you're doing it with someone else, the other person will be like, "What the fuck's that shit, man? What are you talking?" So it's good to have someone to drag you out of your own sort of quagmire. I think I do that for her, and I think she does that for me too, musically. There's times we try and lighten it up because it can get a bit on the heavy side. It still feels like that's such an untapped, or just a barely scratched surface that we're starting to get into. And I've had some talks with Beatman in Switzerland about a movie we want to make. And then doing this Black Rider performance recently, I started to go, I think maybe this movie should be a musical in a darker form of what that would mean. So the graphic side of it, for me it's always been a question or an issue. I'd never liked seeing a band get up with tracksuit trousers and running shoes on or whatever. I always preferred it to see somebody who's dressed for the show, and you're like, okay, that's a big side of what they're presenting, is the formal side of it, and the idea that there's a musician's uniform, which is a suit. I like that idea. It takes it to the music to this classic sort of form. But then there's this other side that we started to look into with Manos del Chango, where it's urban. So maybe there's a song in a tracksuit, which is not what I would have ever imagined, but somehow that suddenly brings a whole new world into my aesthetic language, and that's a great thing. It's got so much in it. Just the idea of the tracksuit. It could be urban London, it could be Eastern Europe, it could be anywhere, the idea of what that brings, that kind of a uniform, as opposed to the tie, the shirt, button down collar, all that stuff that I generally tend to wear. And maybe it's also a hark back to a much younger mentality than I'm generally playing, being of a certain age and having a certain kind of a era in my aesthetic. This is definitely a new flavour there.